Okay, folks, I think. All good? We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Holden. I am an adjunct at Brooke College, a PhD candidate in the English department here at the Graduate Center, and I'm an organizer with the CUNY on Strike campaign project formation. Thank you guys so much for coming. Really excited for Jimena's talk. But I'm going to quickly introduce the CUNY on Strike campaign and introduce why we're here, what we're doing, and why we're doing what we're doing. So the CUNY on Strike project, as its name sort of suggests, is a project to build strike consciousness and strike readiness across the CUNY system. As many of you might know, we've been working for over a year without a contract here. As many of you surely know, we've been facing decades of austerity. And so the CUNY on Strike campaign really understands that one of the fundamental reasons that we have been beaten so badly for decades is because our union, the PSC, has never been fully strike ready, has never had a credible strike threat. So management is never forced to take us seriously. So that's sort of the impetus of the CUNY on Strike campaign. But I think something that's really important and speaks to why we're here today is that the project and the program of what we're doing is not just about a strike. A strike is a tool, and what we are working for is rank and file power. We're working towards a democratic bottom-up union, one where the rank and file members, us, the people in this room, are the protagonists of the union. And so we understand the strike is a tool towards that, and we understand in order to build strike readiness and strike consciousness, we need to be democratizing the union in the process. And so in developing this CUNY on Strike campaign, the organizers of it sort of developed, and it's still in process of developing, a sort of three-pronged model of this organizing project. And the first one is, which many of you might have attended, strike schools. So these are sort of instigatory events where we bring people in, we sort of give our case on why a strike is necessary, we present our case on why a strike is possible, and then we begin to integrate people into the project, the campaign itself. So that's like one foundation. The other foundation is what we call stewards. So we developed this steward model across the CUNY system. Every campus has steward groups, and those are sort of the cadres leading at their campus efforts to build strike consciousness, strike readiness, and that takes many different forms. And the third foundation, which I think until last week when we had our first community assembly in the English department here, is these community assemblies. And so these we understand, and they're still sort of abstract for some people, for a lot of us, and that's one of the reasons we're here. But we understand these community assemblies to be vehicles and sort of institutions of rank and file democracy. Community assemblies are open, deliberative, democratic decision-making bodies. And so we understand that community assemblies, and we understand and we think, and I think an important part of this is any organizing project is sort of an experiment. So our hypothesis is that community assemblies can be the foundational vehicle through which democratization of this union can happen. And so one of the things we've been talking to a lot of people, both within the CUNY on Strike campaign itself and with rank and file members across the union, we've been kind of talking up these community assemblies, but a lot of people aren't really sure what they're about. Some people understand them to be just another tactic, sort of like picketing or tabling. But it's our hypothesis that these community assemblies can be more than just a tactic, but actually a strategy towards democratization and towards rank and file power. And so that's sort of the impetus for why we're here today, to have a beautiful discussion about a famous university strike in Mexico. And I'm going to pass it to Tati to complete that introduction.
Thanks so much, Holden. And first of all, big shout out to folks in CUNY on strike. Big shout out to folks in CUNY on strike, and particularly Holden and Carrie, that it really bottom line getting, the three of us worked on getting this event together. We're super excited to have this discussion with folks. My name is Tatiana. I'm in Left Voice. I'm also in CUNY for Palestine, CUNY on strike as well, and I'm an adjunct at Brooklyn and Hunter. And I'm super excited to have everyone here to talk about the very famous and important 1999 UNAM strike in Mexico City, and the lessons for us today, and for us to be able to think about and envision what community assemblies would mean for us here at CUNY, and really with the goal of people here, people online, to be able to be how could I make this happen, right? How could I organize this in my campus or in my department or so forth? So just a little bit about the UNAM strike. UNAM has 300,000 students. It's one of the largest universities in Latin America, and the UNAM strike of 1999 included the whole university. So 13 faculties, 7 campuses, 14 high schools, and it also, they were all on strike, and it also included student occupations of many of those campuses alongside the student strike. The strike started in April of 99 and lasted until February, so a 9-month strike, when 2,500 federal police on the orders of the president of Mexico stormed in to the campus and evicted hundreds of students and arrested hundreds of students. There's chairs up here if you need a chair. Hi, person. So the strike was kicked off because of an attempt to impose a $60 fee on students for what was basically a free university. And the students took up this demand and also other demands against the repressive mechanisms on campus. As our comrade from Argentina, Chipi Castillo, writes, he says, the set of demands that the UNAM strike took up challenged the plan to turn the UNAM into an elitist institution, tailoring it more and more to the needs of big businesses in line with the recommendations of the World Bank for Education in Latin America. And so the UNAM strike was really against the policies of the IMF, the World Bank, as well as the Mexican capitalists themselves. And the UNAM strike was organized, and the only way it could survive for these 9 months was based on these rank and file community and student assemblies, where the assemblies existed in each department and were scaled up to a strike general council. And these rank and file bottom up forms of self-organization were the way that strike was organized, but also a way forward for us to, as Holden was saying, reject business unionism, reject top-down unionism. I think it's also a way for us to think about how to unite the struggle for Palestine with this contract struggle that we're in, and how to unite students, faculty, and students, faculty, and staff, as well as other sectors of the working class into our struggle. Because as we know, CUNY educates the working class of New York, right? And so I think that this is also a way we can think about bringing in different sectors. And so I hope this can be inspiration for us. We're gonna hear first, Jimena's gonna give a presentation about the UNAM strike and with special emphasis on how the assemblies actually worked, with the goal of us being able to envision it. And then we're gonna get to questions. And ideally, folks can ask questions on the UNAM strike itself, but also on the sort of how-to of how to get these assemblies off the ground, thinking towards the possibility of building them at CUNY. So to introduce Jimena, Jime is a former UNAM student and professor, born and raised in Mexico City, who participated in the 1999 UNAM strike. She's a founding member of Movimiento de Trabajadores Socialistas, the sister organization of Left Voice in Mexico. She's the co-author of Mexico in Flames, a book about a Marxist interpretation of the Mexican Revolution, as well as co-author of the La Pluma y la Espada, the pen and the sword, which is about the Mexican Revolutionary Independence Movement in 1810, and also Juventud en las Calles, Youth in the Streets, which was about history of the Mexican student movement from 1968 to 2014. Jime lives here in New York City and is a member of Left Voice. So I will turn it over to her.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Also, give me one second. Also, do you two mind